Chapter 3: The Secret Society. The remains of the old building still smoldered, and the scent of burnt wood lingered in the air as Vikram, Bunty, and Ravi made their way through the chaotic streets of Hyderabad. They had narrowly escaped the trap laid by the puppeteer, and the evidence they managed to gather felt like both a victory and a taunt. Back at Vikram's apartment, Ravi was given a cup of tea and a blanket. Bunty was busy examining the photographs and documents they had salvaged from the puppeteer's hideout. Vikram stood by the window, a fresh cigar in his hand, staring at the bustling city below. "We've got a face, but no name," Bunty said, frustration evident in his voice. "This guy is good, too good." "We need to dig deeper," Vikram replied, his voice steady. "The puppeteer knew we were coming, which means he's connected. We need to find out who else is in his network." Ravi looked up, his young face filled with a mix of fear and determination. "My sister? Will you find her?" Vikram knelt down beside him, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "We will, Ravi, I promise." Just then, Vikram's phone buzzed. It was Naveen Kumar, Vikram's childhood friend and now a circle inspector with the Hyderabad police. "Vikram, we need to talk. Can you meet me at Charminar?" "We'll be there in 20 minutes, Vikram said, ending the call. The drive to Charminar was tense. The iconic structure stood tall, its grandeur a stark contrast to the dark underbelly of the city. Naveen was waiting near a tea stall, his expression serious. "Naveen," Vikram greeted him with a nod. "What's the urgency?" "I've been hearing things," Naveen said, lowering his voice. "There's a group operating in the shadows. They call themselves the Secret Society of Detectives. Rumor has it they have information on almost every criminal operation in the city, including the puppeteer." "And you think they'll help us?" Bunty asked skeptically. "They might if you can prove yourselves," Naveen replied. "They don't trust outsiders easily. But there's someone who can get you in, Sonia." Sonia, a sub-inspector with a crush on Vikram, had always been a reliable ally. Vikram had his reservations about involving her, but they needed all the help they could get. "Let's talk to her," Vikram decided. Sonia agreed to meet them at a quiet cafe in an upscale part of the city. She arrived in plain clothes, her demeanor professional as always, but with a hint of warmth in her eyes when she saw Vikram. "Vikram, Bunty," she greeted them. "What's this about the secret society?" "We need their help," Vikram explained. "The puppeteer is getting bolder, and we're running out of leads." Sonia sighed, glancing around to ensure they weren't being overheard. "I can get you in, but it won't be easy. They'll test you first." "What kind of test?" Bunty asked, raising an eyebrow. "Prove your worth," Sonia replied. "They'll give you a case to solve, something they think is impossible. If you succeed, they'll help you. If you fail, well, let's not think about that." Vikram nodded. "Set it up." That night, Vikram and Bunty waited in an old, dimly lit library, the meeting place arranged by Sonia. The atmosphere was thick with the scent of old books and mystery. At exactly midnight, a hooded figure approached them. "Follow me," the figure instructed, leading them through a hidden door behind a bookshelf. The passageway led to a spacious room filled with old maps, ancient artifacts, and state-of-the-art technology. Around a large table sat members of the secret society, their faces hidden by masks. "Vikram, Bunty," one of them spoke, his voice distorted by a modulator. "You seek our help, but first, you must prove yourselves." "We're ready," Vikram said confidently. A file was slid across the table towards them. Vikram opened it, revealing a case that had baffled the police for years, a series of high-profile thefts with no apparent connection. Each crime scene had been meticulously cleaned, leaving no evidence. "This is your test," the masked figure said. "Solve it, and we will assist you in your hunt for the puppeteer." Bunty looked at Vikram, excitement and apprehension in his eyes. "Let's do this." They spent the next several days poring over the details of the case. Each theft had taken place during major cultural festivals, with the stolen items ranging from priceless artifacts to modern technology. It seemed like the work of different criminals, but Vikram had a hunch they were connected. "Look at this," Bunty said, pointing to a map of the city. Each theft occurred within a 3-kilometer radius of a specific point. "What's there?" Vikram examined the map. "The old observatory," he said thoughtfully. "It's been abandoned for years." "Could be a hideout," Bunty suggested. "Only one way to find out," Vikram replied, grabbing his coat. The observatory was a towering structure, its once glorious facade now crumbling. They approached cautiously, flashlights cutting through the darkness. Inside, they found signs of recent activity, discarded food wrappers, footprints in the dust, and a makeshift sleeping area. Someone's been living here, Bunty noted, or using it as a base of operations, Vikram added. They moved deeper into the building, finding a room filled with stolen items, everything from ancient artifacts to cutting-edge technology. Vikram picked up a laptop, its screen displaying a list of targets. "This is it," Vikram said, excitement in his voice. This is where they planned everything. Before Bunty could respond, they heard footsteps behind them. They turned to see a group of masked figures, the leader holding a gun. "Looks like we're not the only ones who found this place," the leader sneered. Vikram and Bunty exchanged a glance, readying themselves for a fight. The odds were against them, but they had no choice but to stand their ground. In a flurry of movement, they fought off the attackers, using their surroundings to their advantage. Vikram's combat skills and Bunty's agility proved invaluable as they disarmed and subdued their assailants. When the dust settled, they stood victorious, but the leader had escaped. "We need to get this evidence to the society," Vikram said, panting. "It's our only leverage." They hurried back to the secret society's hideout, presenting the stolen items and the laptop as proof for their success. The members examined the evidence, nodding in approval. "You have passed the test," the leader announced. "We will help you find the puppeteer." Relief washed over Vikram and Bunty, but they knew their journey was far from over. The puppeteer was still out there, watching their every move. As they left the secret society's hideout, a sense of determination filled the air. They had allies now, and the puppeteer's web was beginning to unravel. But little did they know, the puppeteer was already planning his next move, setting a trap that would test their resolve and push them to their limits.